We would like to report an official condolences for Aubrey's pet hamster that has lived in the studio for most of our previous recordings. Rest in peace, Ricky the Rickster. You were...
old as hell, really. I mean,
really?
It's really impressive how long he lived, because when I got him, they were already like, I mean, he'll probably just live like 6 months. And he lived like almost 2 years after that,
So, what an impressive guy. You will be missed. We are now using your table for recording because it was the largest table in the room.
Yeah.
So, close to our hearts and our microphones.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
I have the official burial report here, Editing Mason. Turns out he was put into a coffin of a Cards Against Humanity box and then shares that space with a bunch of his stuffing and a donut treat, and they buried him inside of one of their flower pots. Rest in peace. We had a bit of a later recording this week. We're still gonna try to get in and talk to a guest sometime later if we can schedule that. Last week we got so held up with a lot of different things, work and school and everything like that. It was just ridiculous. But at the same time, like, we skipped a couple weeks ago, so I don't think either of us really wanted to miss. We just needed to record later, I guess. We're recording this on Monday. I'm gonna try to get this up like as soon as possible. So this one will probably be a little bit shorter, just so I have the brain capacity to do 2 of these in 1 week. But
right,
we're still here. I still have something I'm really excited to talk about, so I'm pumped. How you doing? What's
Oh, I have had a rough time. I have lots of animals in my house, meaning when it's hot and you live in the South, fleas are the worst, and ticks, but I haven't had much of a problem with ticks this year and with this hot weather. But fleas, they have been invading our space, and I am not...
They've been getting my ankles real bad.
I literally don't know what to do, so if anyone has any suggestions, please email our email that's in the description. Because I'm losing my mind.
And I would really like someone to finally send an email to that email.
Right. It's just like, I've talked to a couple other like dog parents, pet parents, and just I've expressed that like I'm uncomfortable giving my dog a lot of pesticides, really. Like, I don't want to cover my pet in like pesticides and chemicals and stuff that, like, I mean, animals are animals. They're meant to exist in nature. They have a lot of ways to protect themselves. Obviously, we have ways to fix some of the things that are a problem, but like I don't know, like, it's difficult. It's also really expensive to get your dog some ingestible pills, and I'm like, we know that's not the only solution, so what the fuck am I doing wrong?
Hard to manage for sure, especially in a place where there are so many neighborhood dogs too. Like, who knows? It's a tricky subject, but we're not here to talk about fleas. We're not here to talk about pests. We're here to talk about stuff and things. But I didn't realize I'd still be saying that on the 14th episode of our podcast.
I mean, that's kind of our thing, stuff and things.
I mean, it is the thing. What are we talking about? I don't have anything else intro-wise. Life has been so boring recently.
Dude, I know. Also, recently I had to watch like a Zoom theater production, and I did a scripted reading over the summer for a playwright. And that was a great experience for me since it was like my first paid acting job. That was awesome. But like I still didn't really like the platform of Zoom for acting because it sucks. It's just not personal. So I kind of knew going into watching a Zoom theater production that I would not be getting my theater experience. And I understand that it absolutely cannot be the same thing. It's just so hard as somebody that loves theater and loves the feeling that you get to watch something that literally has none of that, because you can't convey that over Zoom. I mean, it's different from a movie, like very, very different. And I don't know, I just thought this would be something interesting since I see it out there a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've had this conversation with like both you and a lot of other theater. I know I've talked to Addie about this before. Theater just a big part of it, what makes it different from movies, is and why, like, a lot of times you don't just watch, like, recordings of theater shows, other than just, like, the sound problems and whatnot, because, I mean, it's, aside from that, I think, a big issue is because it is a form of media that is created to be viewed live, and sadly, that's not really something that we can do at a time like this, but, I don't know, watching it over, like, a massive, like, group call.
Well, they had it so you couldn't see anybody else's screen or anything. Everyone was, like, everybody that entered was automatically, like, muted and there was no screen for them. So it was just the actors on screen. It's just, like, the piece itself, in particular, the one I watched, was definitely not meant for Zoom and really just didn't convey the right message. I only feel like talking about this because I had to write a paper on it with some ridiculous word count. Like, they wanted 1,000 words, and I was like, I understand that I could maybe do that when I watch a real play, but you want 1,000 words on me staring at a screen where set and lighting design are basically non-existent, costumes are just accessories. Like, I can't elaborate. So I literally turned in a 300-page paper and I said, fuck that.
Understandable. I mean,
it's just, you want my critique, you want my opinion, I will give it to you, but, like, I'm not gonna adhere to,
I don't know.
I get my point across. I said what needed to be said.
Man, yeah, I don't know if there's any play worth writing 1,000 words, because at that point you really are having to, like, nitpick and pull things out that, like, you don't need to be doing. Like, you're overanalyzing if you have 1,000 words to say in a review.
No, and even with The King and I didn't get 1,000 words on that critique, and The King and I talked about everything I saw and how racist and awful and orientalist it is.
Yeah.
And how the people that wrote it know nothing about Taiwan and it's super offensive. Mm-hmm. And I still didn't get 1,000 words. But I know the grad student that grades that for the teacher is gonna really get a kick out of it, because I definitely said some things where I was like, it's really fucked up that the faculty would hire and pay outside actors who are adults. And I mean, granted, I did say they were great actors. They're both phenomenal. I'm familiar with one of the actors in particular, and I love his work. But you're a university putting this on. You have grad students and undergrad students who need on-stage acting experience, and I know too many kids that graduate without that for that to be happening. So,
I mean,
I really can't wait for somebody to read that and then be like, oh,
I mean, yeah, I believe I made it through the entirety of my theater experience at that university doing one singular play, and it was like an off-like thing that I was asked personally to do because I knew the professor really well.
Yeah, and that's fucked up, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a girl that got into New York grad school, but she had no on-stage opportunity. I mean, I was really glad for her to be able to do that. I mean, she's incredible. But the fact that the university gave her literally no time, and not for lack of effort, it's just infuriating, especially as a person that, like, I know I've had a lot of roles in my time at the university. Like, I've gotten on stage time at least once every year, and that's something I'm really, really thankful for. But at the same time, I'm not going to stop fighting for the opportunities of my peers, because I understand that I should not be getting this many roles when we have this many other students.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's always like the same fight.
I don't want to be a part of that collective bunch that ends up being, the favorites or whatever, when there needs to be diversity on stage, really. Anyways, so...
Thinking about it, though, I would actually really have liked to have seen a play that was written with the idea of it being performed in a Zoom call.
No, yeah, and I'm hoping that we will get some of that soon, because right now we are definitely on Zoom for future notice.
Yeah. Yikes.
And having done a Zoom super intensive acting class last semester, I would like to see improvement in that area, but I also know how tough it is. It's really hard. I'm also about to start work on a different show, and it's gonna have to be all on Zoom. It's gonna be tough because I don't like Zoom theater, but I'm an actor, and this is literally all we have. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Until people learn to wear their masks and stop getting people sick or whatever.
Anyway, what are we talking about, Aubrey? Do you have some time to think about what you want to talk about during your car ride this weekend?
Well, as you know, my car ride, shout out Morbid Podcast. I listen to you guys literally every drive that I've made in the last couple months because you guys are just, I love listening to their 3-part. I mean, it's so, I can listen to like 3 hours of Ash and Elena talk, and the drive goes by so fast, and I was fascinated. I was listening to the Toy Box Killer once, which is really one of their earlier episodes, and I just hadn't delved into stuff before, like, the current year.
I gotcha.
Other than the JonBenet Ramsey case, because that's good. We all gotta know about her. But the Toy Box Killer was really good. I'm not going to say much about it because you will not appreciate it at all. But if serial killers and serial sadomasochists interest you and pique your, your weird bone.
Morbid curiosity.
Your morbid curiosity. Yeah, there you go. That's a good one to listen to. I believe it's a 2-parter. Yeah, it's just a 2-parter. So it's not too long. But I actually brought in something different. That is like a throwback piece, but also still super relevant. And it's something that I care very deeply about because this woman was such an icon to me growing up. And it's Free Britney. Britney Spears, the famous pop star.
Of course.
As a kid, my mom bought me like her singles collection. I loved Britney's music. My mom did too. My grandma really did not appreciate that though because she thought it was too sexual. And I can definitely understand that now. I'm like, who let me listen to this? But also, like, I turned out fine. So, back when Britney had her mental breakdown, there was this, the famous Chris Crocker video, Leave Britney Alone.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we all remember that.
So this movement, #FreeBritney, has been around for over a decade, but recently it's had a resurgence. And by recently, I mean like this year. Like in the last year, I've been seeing a lot more about it. Britney Spears has a legal arrangement that controls most of her life, and it's called a conservatorship. Also, this article is from ABC News Australia, I believe.
Strange.
Yes, it's by Alexis Moran. So if you want to find that, Free Britney Alexis Moran article. It's very informative. I had to find one that kind of gave me everything laid out, articulated right. Because I've read way too much about this in the last year. So, if you don't know what a conservatorship is, that is basically a legal arrangement typically used to protect the elderly, infirm, or mentally disabled. Sometimes it's used when the person is in a coma. Basically, it means the court believes the person who it's made for cannot make decisions for themselves. Britney Spears' mental health struggles are well known. She had a public meltdown in 2007, where she was reported a near constant figure on the Hollywood party scene. She shaved her head and wore a pink wig and spoke in a fake British accent. And she also lashed out at paparazzi with an umbrella, which I fully supported all of this shit she was doing back in the day, even though I didn't really know. But now that I know why she felt that way, because of all the pressure with being America's biggest sex pop icon, basically a cog in the multimedia machine.
Listen, I get it. I get it, but paparazzi literally make me want to tear my hair out because these are people that go out of their way to agitate people in their lives so that they can get something on them. Like they're just going to start arguments and like intrusive conversations off of bad faith, and it's not. I don't appreciate it. I really don't. Like it keeps people from being able to just live their fucking lives. Seriously.
Yeah. So, Britney Spears lost custody of her 2 sons, Sean and Jaden, to her ex-husband Kevin Federline, and then she went to rehab. She was later hospitalized twice for psychiatric evaluation in 2008. TMZ reported that Spears voluntarily checked herself into a residential mental health facility back in April of last year. But her fans want to know why the conservatorship has lasted so long. 12 years, to be exact. Despite Spears' ongoing success in the music industry. This has been going on the whole time, like, post-breakdown and all of her success, she's still being controlled by her father. Like, he has a conservatorship over a grown woman who's clearly mentally able enough to be successful and take care of herself, and it's like, what?
Yeah, I've heard people talking about this.
Yeah, she was still dropping albums, making music videos, and doing world tours, and performing at events, creating her own $1 million perfume line, and had her own hand in a few fashion collections. She also appeared on the U.S. television show The X Factor in 2012, and landed a residency in Las Vegas between 2013 and 2017. Basically,
Somebody
her
was.
father and a lawyer were given they became temporary conservators of her estate. The lawyer has since relinquished his duty because of health issues, so he's no longer involved. It's just the dad and now her care manager, Jody Montgomery. In the beginning, Mr. Spears was in control of her welfare and allowed the lawyer co-conservator to help manage her financial assets. It was set in motion the day just after she was hospitalized for psychiatric evaluation. But by the end of 2008, it was made permanent. They made it a permanent conservatorship.
Can you can do that?
Yeah.
You can do that?
So to clarify what control that means they have on her, according to California courts, the duties of a conservator of the person are to arrange for the conservatee's care and protection, decide where the conservatee will live, and make arrangements for the conservatee's meals, healthcare, clothing, personal care, housekeeping, transportation, shelter, recreation, and well-being. They also have to get approval from the court for certain decisions about the health care or living arrangements of the conservatee and report to the court on the current status of them. The duties of the conservatory of the estate, they get to manage all of the finances, locate and take control of all assets, collect the conservatee's income, make a budget to show what the conservatee can afford, pay the bills, responsibly invest the conservatee's money, protect the conservatee's assets, and account to the court and to the conservatee for the management of the conservatee's assets. So basically they have control of literally everything.
I mean, it sounds like they, own her. It's kind of it's really uncomfy. Why? I thought you weren't allowed to do that. Why are they allowed to do that? How did they do that?
Right. As of a month ago, over 250,000 people have signed a petition for Britney Spears on change.org for her to have the right to her own lawyer. Fans are really upset right now, though, specifically because she had a hearing back in July and fans protested there. Basically, the fans are they're convinced that she's sending communicated code messages in her social media posts. I don't know if you've seen any of Britney Spears' social media posts lately. Go ahead and quick show you this.
Yeah, that she was the fastest person in the world.
Article.
Okay, editor here. I just had to cut out 2 full minutes of multiple videos that people have made on this subject, and just let regular Mason take it. Okay, so you weren't joking.
No, yeah, I'm not joking. But
and
Britney
neither
Spears,
is Britney.
apparently months ago posted, this thing where it's a Bible verse thing, and then the caption is, "I get how some people might not like my posts or even understand them, but this is me being happy. ... This is me being authentic and as real as it gets. 5 exclamation points. I want to inspire people to do the same and just be themselves without pleasing others. ... That's the key to happiness. 4 flower emojis, 6 exclamation points."
Okay.
It's not just fans, though, that are concerned. There are multiple celebrities that have spoken out about this.
Really?
I believe one of her ex-hairdressers, or maybe still hairdresser, kind of has been resurging the movement. But also Taryn Manning, more famous for Orange is the New Black, but also back in the day was in Crossroads, Britney Spears, posted a post about Britney, saying, "Britney, I know you're strong AF, and you have your own brain and thought process. To me, you look happy and like you're having a blast. Keep up the happy posts and your faith in Jesus Christ. How about instead of #free Britney, we say #God is watching over Britney." Her former co-star, Taryn Manning, also said, "Until we know the facts, stop speculating and perpetrating the father of lies. We know that she's under a type of control that's unfair and things will be fixed." Paris Hilton, Snooki, Rose McGowan, and Miley Cyrus are all people that have used the #Free Britney. Miley Cyrus also said it in one of her concerts last year.
Oh.
Singer Cher even tweeted, "Question, why is a woman being worked if it is known by her conservator that she's well enough to care for herself?"
It's a good Cher impression. Thank you.
Thank you. I love Cher. We share a birthday, and
oh, yeah.
Do you believe in life after love?
Yeah, it's really just the talking part.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, it sounds like Britney Spears is actually in danger, and we need to help her.
I just think we should keep a really close eye, and that also they need to take this stupid permanent conservatorship away. She should be able to control her own finances and make her own decisions at this point. She's proven she's mentally well enough to make adult decisions. She does not need something that's literally supposed to be for the elderly or people who are dying or incapacitated,
Yeah, no, it sounds like really, really sketch. Like incredibly, insanely sketch. Like that's awful. That's a thing that should be illegal.
Yeah, I just thought I would put that out there because I care about Britney Spears and I hope that she will eventually be freed from the conservatorship, regardless of if she's calling out for help in these posts. I still think that the conservatorship is not right because she's an independent woman and this feels literally like the most sexist shit. And it's 2020, man!
It's, yeah.
12 years of this sexist bullshit? No! Oh my god, I'd be losing my mind! But hey, maybe that's why she's responding to some of the things that are being put in the comments. I don't know, guys. Send us your thoughts about the Free Britney Spears movement. Like, also, just send us things to that email. Like, we would love to read them. You might get your name read in the podcast.
We want to hear from people. I mean, like,
hey, we're talking to you, one French listener. We know you're out there. We have one repeat French listener, and I love that.
Yeah,
I don't know who you are, but thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Merci.
Merci, yes. Yeah, I know most of the people that listen are probably people that we know personally, but
we still want to hear from you!
Yes, we want to hear from everybody, please. So, I don't really have anything for a fake ad. I just gotta say, Aubrey's pissed that I lost Goblin. If anybody knows where he went, that would be super tight. She's pissed, and I'm just so lonely. So lonely. But anyway,
talking about...
What are we talking about, Aubrey? Well, today, a couple days ago, I was chatting quite a lot with my friend Whitney about various psychological things. Like, I mean, she's a psych major. I mean, she's going into research. Like, she is super interested in like cognition and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it tends to get me thinking about, especially like when I talk to her about stuff like that. It just like why we do stuff, like things that like we just as people intrinsically do without like a whole lot of like forethought into it.
Yeah.
A really interesting part of cognition, I think, is that kind of research that they do. This is actually completely unrelated to the thing. Today, what I really wanted to talk about was why we as human beings, not everybody, but a lot of us, why we like to draw. Not everybody, but some people just innately do. Like, it's a thing that, like, when your brain, you get distracted, like, you're just sitting there, you're not paying attention to what you're doing, you start doodling.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting thing. And I've never had any reason for why. Like, and I'm not even all that good of a drawer, but, like, I mean, it's probably just because of practice, but it's just something that we do as people. So today, I wanted to bring everyone along as we learn
along with me. Ooh.
Along with me here. Why do people draw? Thank you to sleep-deprived me for bringing me this topic.
So you say it's just a thing that we as humans do, but growing up, my dad was an art teacher. So we were you color in the lines household. I mean, granted, my dad always said everything was art, but like when I was a kid, he taught me how to do things so they would look nice. You know what I mean?
I don't know. My dad used to sculpt a lot back in, like, mostly in high school, and he kind of dropped it in college. I used to see, like, old drawings that my dad did back in the day when he used to do stuff like that, but, my own sense of drawing, I just, for me, I don't know if you get this, but for me, it was, I would have this, like, imagination of a look of something, or, like, a creature, or a lot of times it was some sort of weird monstrous creature, or something like that. It would be a unique, novel idea, so I just wanted to, like, doodle that down, or, like, draw that down, or, like, keep it, or something like that. Dude, I have so many embarrassing little pieces of paper that have been folded up and just shoved into my old drawers and whatnot back in my hometown.
But at least you would try and draw it. For me, it was the frustration of lack of the skill to draw exactly what I wanted and create this magnum opus perfect thing,
Oh, no, I mean, the reason that they were folded up and tucked into drawers is because I was very embarrassed by how terrible they looked, but I never wanted to throw them away.
Hey, Editor Mason here. Guess what? You're never gonna get to see him either. There's no way. There's absolutely no way that I would ever let that happen. Anyway, let's continue.
Sometimes things have to be terrible before they can be good.
Well, I mean, that's exactly what, like, practice with drawing is, I feel.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot get good at a thing like that until you really, like, hone your ability to like, utilize your tools. And, I mean, I think that's why it's just a frustrating thing. I don't know, I feel like it's very easy to be discouraged at a thing like that, especially, like, growing up whenever, you know, so many people like to do things like that, and, like, someone else in your middle school art class also likes to draw dragons, but she's, like, amazing at it, and it just seems really unfair, so you just give up. No personal experience, but...
Growing up, I was that kid.
Fuck
the kid
you.
that was way better. But I never felt like I was good. So that was the thing. People would always be like, oh, you're so good. And I'd always be like, no, I fucking suck. You know how much I hate doing... I mean, I love art, but this is why I only lasted as an art and theater double major for like a week. Because, holy shit, art just makes me so angry. Because I want... It's like staring at the portrait of Dorian Gray. Like, you're just fixed with all of your fucking shit and all your mistakes. And it's right there and you can see them. So anyways, I love art, but also it's a complicated relationship. I love it so much, and it's such a precious thing to me, but when I see it, I see all my mistakes a lot of the time. I mean, you know.
I mean, fair. I mean, I feel like that's how any creative activity tends to be. I mean, that's how I am when I edit this podcast.
Right.
I hyper-focus on every single detail for...
Hey, editor Mason here. You trying to fucking throw hands, episode Mason? Let me fucking see you come over here and do this shit. Think it's so fucking easy? Oh man. Oh, look at this big old boy over here just telling some fucking not funny jokes while I'm editing. Hey, at least I know how to do my job.
Super look behind the curtain here. I mean, when we were sitting here talking about this, I was in my head thinking about what bits and breaths and stammers I'm gonna cut out later whenever I edit this.
See? You're trying to do my job while you should be doing yours. Sorry, this isn't related. Let's just get back to the episode. I'm sorry.
I mean, people, you know, it's, you know...
So you're all worried about that, and I'm over here, and every time I fuck up, I just like, Mason will fix it. It's fine.
Well, and it's the same time, like, when it comes to editing, like, if I wanted to, I mean, with what I used to work on, like, I could cut it down to where I remove every single breath, every single... stammer bit and beat that's like not supposed to be there, but you know, I feel like that kind of takes away a bit of
it's the human.
This isn't like we're some big like professional, like we're not.
It's not like you're listening to a teacher lecture in class and they just keep going I had a teacher one time, we counted over 30 times in one class. So you're not bad, man. This, you can always fix this. We don't have to be perfect.
You know, very fair.
Granted, if we ever get to do a live show, geez, that'll be a train wreck.
At the same time, though, I don't feel so. I feel that knowing both you and me, like we both like get a lot of, I wouldn't call it anxious energy, but there's a lot of energy being on a stage, and like it weirdly enough, like as like socially anxious as I am as a person, I feel like I almost have an opposite effect whenever I'm in front of a massive crowd of people, and I at least know. It's weird. I don't know. I guess for me, it's like whenever it's a crowd of people, it's a lot easier to like dissociate whatever, like trying to feel like what everybody's thinking of you in that moment. Because like, you know, if it's like one or two people, you can be like, you know, oh, I wonder what like those two people are thinking about me. But if it's like 1,000 to like 2,000 people, you can't like. There's no way. You just got to focus on what you're doing and trying to like... Maybe it is also a preparedness thing too. I'm not sure. Because my only experiences of really being on a stage are like plays that I've been in where I've memorized every single line and blocking and where,
yeah,
you know...
this is more improv, which I've always considered myself somebody who's really bad at improv, but I guess I also used to have an acting teacher who said no one's really bad at improv. You know, you just don't think about it. I think about everything.
I mean, we have a lot of thought processes. I think what's most important, everybody's different in the way that they deliver. I think it's important of finding a partner that you can work off of well.
Right. Well, it's also, you know,
being
just
able
another
to fill yourself up.
just another good acting teacher quote. Your personal problems are your acting problems. Because listen, anxiety, it's an acting problem too.
Yeah, well, as dearly as I loved Miss Maupin, she was from Texas, and that wasn't really an energy that she brought in. I will say she for everything that we did and went through in that department, like that is. We went for some very obscure plays in my high school career. Because I mean,
no,
like,
I'm sure you guys
I
did way
feel
more
like-
interesting stuff than we did.
because well, I mean, like she had been doing like teaching and stuff like that for so long at that point, and her husband owned the theater that our high school had.
Right, and also you had less limitations being a public school, whereas
Yeah.
I went to a private school, so we had a lot more limitations. Although it was a pretty conservative town where you were, so
Oh, for
I am
sure.
a little surprised.
Well, I mean, it's not that we did anything really like I said, it's not that any of it was really like counterculture. It's just more so that it was like more interesting and thought provoking instead of just the Wizard of Oz or whatever, which I did do in junior high. Which I mean, nothing against the Wizard of Oz, but still, something you see a lot in like young person theater. But no, I mean, like my first play that I did in high school was called Wiley and the Hairy Man. And I was the dog, which was one of the main 4 roles. Well, I was. Which is weird. Whenever we performed it in school, I was the stand-in dog. I was just like the backup dog. No, wait. No, wait.
Backup dog.
No, wait. No, I was the stand-in for Wiley. But then the dude who played the dog got sick whenever we went to do the traveling show, so I just took the dog role instead. But I had been there the whole time, so I knew what to do.
Oh my god.
Also, they loved me when we performed at the Thespian Festival, I'll tell you what.
My senior year, I got to play the racist Jewish mom in Bye Bye Birdie, and people loved my performance, and I hate that.
Huh.
Like, I get it. I'm a funny person, and I'm gonna make a fucking mockery out of any character who has... I mean, I enjoy that. It's a challenge to play somebody who has complete opposite beliefs of mine and who feels that way. I just... Oh my god. Why?
Yeah.
I hate that. I mean, but like I do enjoy playing evil characters, so and I do find myself like really appreciative of villains now. People that play villains. Also, I recommend The Boys on Amazon Prime if anyone's not seen it yet. I watched
Boys?
Yeah, they just came out the second season. I just watched the first 3 episodes with my boyfriend and a friend of his. And the friend of his has watched all of it. And he was like, "Oh, I think you guys will like it." So we started watching it, and I was like, "Oh, it's a superhero TV show." And, usually that doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they're realistically, like, if you know what the Stanford Prison Experiment is, like, power goes to people's heads. The superheroes are shitty people. And, like, I mean, not all of them, but a lot of them are. And, like, I really like it because I'm like, if superheroes really existed, I think they would probably end up being like super smug rich assholes.
I mean, there's a power complex thing that all of us innately have as humans. It sucks. It sucks that it's a thing. It's just you have to be careful with shit like that. And I mean, that's kind of like what X-Men is, right? Like the mutants are
right.
Like, but
and
except
like
it's from much more
you
of a
don't have to
standpoint
watch
of
it
like their
to get some of the other stuff. That's just kind of like a quick gist. I just like the flipping that on its head, where superheroes are the good guys, but also the bad guys, because like they also kind of become the police force in this version of the world.
Oh,
like the police still exist, but like they've privatized superheroes into a business.
Oh wait, are you talking about Hero?
No,
You're talking about that
the
anime?
boys.
I mean, there's a lot of boys in that anime, so
There's a lot of boys in every anime,
fair.
whether you know it or not.
Fair.
Well,
so yeah, the gist of the drawing thing is that we do that to capture memories. That's the long and short of it.
I forgot we were talking about
But anyway, I think that's where we're gonna cut it off for this time, just so I don't have so much to go through. Since, like I said, we're still gonna try to get see a guest sometime this week. Well, regardless though, great to be here. Great to talk to you guys again, and
Email us. Email is in the description below.
Or Instagram or Twitter, or I need to. This time we talked about online theater.
Yeah, Zoom theater. Free Britney. Hashtag Free Britney. Which we fully support.
Caged pop stars.
Yeah.
And Not at all about drawing.
We kind of learned about drawing very
Not
briefly,
not
but,
really at all.
you know,
Not at all.
I don't know. We did something.
Okay. Okay, I'll go.